Good. Okay. Before the scene opens, um, the roll on screen is a result of Stefan's nightmare roll from actually the previous scene that this is a follow up to. So it is a complete success.
And Axel is also currently on 2 successes.
Um, with that, the scene will open. It is about 2:30 in the morning. The bar, with the help of the uh, bouncer at the door, has been cleared out, and Stefan is taken more or less fairly natural to his job. Um, Gotten pretty quick at closing the place up. Um, Not that he closed alone, but um, with the bit of help that Ash provided, um, Stefan suggested, take the night off. I'll close for you. So, it's a little bit of a going out on a limb. Um, with the bar closed, doors locked, Stefan settles back on a chair in the front room and makes a call to some to a well member of his clan. Phone rings.
Axel.
Uh, Axel, this is Stefan
Oh, Mr. Brunfiedler.
Brunfiedler, but it is fine.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm terrible with foreign names.
Don't worry about it.
I do. So kind of one of the things, trying to end up keeping a certain degree of formality. I'm sure I'll get it in time. I do apologize for it. No slight was intended.
Not a problem. I'm calling you because from my earlier meetings with Gideon at the Vale Community Center. I do not know if you're familiar.
No, no, I'm not.
Quite an interesting place. Quite nice for something in the projects.
Projects. Jesus, I thought that was no-fly zone for a while. And hell, I'm still hesitant to end up paying up there, and I've been one of the more active people there. Jesus,
I
why there?
It was he had business there, and he decided that would be an adequate place for our meeting. I
Our
also
meeting.
ended up running into one of our underdwelling cousins.
Hmm.
But Gideon suggested that I meet with you because I wished to find out what threw him so far over the edge that last night I was at the church.
Takes Axel a minute to digest this. All right, don't say any more. We'll talk in person. Where are we going?
Well, I am currently in the industrial district. Do you have a place in mind that you find particularly Mm, adequate.
Yeah, I've kind of been making a couple of visits to a particular location. I think it's sound. He gives you a warehouse number. It sounds more like a registration code than an address, but near the water.
And it's in what part of the city?
Believe it's in southern. I think that's industrial, but let me double check because I have the actual location marked on a map I have placed just in case. But uh, it is actually in docks and shipping, down in the warehouses near the train yard.
Okay. Um. Okay. I will. I will be leaving the last resort and catching a cab. Yes, and be
That's
there.
Ash's place, isn't it?
Yeah, that is
Oh,
indeed.
all right. Well, we'll catch up when you get there. Um, don't mind the door. It still opens. It just doesn't close properly.
It's a
He
door.
hangs up.
Hmm. Stefan closes his phone and puts it back in his pot. Or, no, he ends the call and dials a number which is behind the bar. The usual cab company. Mm, Gypsy Step Cab. I don't fucking whatever. Um, I don't know. Um, and yeah, um, I am going to be needing a taxi at the last resort. Yeah. Closest one would be convenient as soon as possible. Ah, okay. Uh, 2 minutes. Okay. I will be waiting out front. Thank you very much. Good evening to you. Puts the phone back in his pocket. Grabs the hoodie that he's become accustomed to wearing. Um, and the keys, goes to the door, walks out, locks it behind him, making sure that only the usual security lights are left on. About 2 minutes later, give or take, the taxi rolls up um, in front of the last resort. Stefan making absolutely no, or with absolutely no missing steps, it gets into the cab quickly and gives the driver the address to the warehouse that Axel had given him. As soon as possible, I need to be there quite quickly, within legal limits. Uh, the cab hearing the cab driver hearing the urgency kind of pushes it a bit, and he begins driving toward the dock area.
Axel's walking his usual route on the south side. The reason he ends up staying so close to this area is because it's near the church. Place of, well, safety. Just in case he needs to be called upon. In this case, well, not particularly glamorous. Vacant warehouse serves quite a good couple of functions. Doesn't take him actually all that long to gain there, as opposed to Stefan, who needs to drive across the city. And when he does, he's greeted by the sound of waves hitting the pier. He's walking up. It's a large warehouse. The windows are taped over with crude paper. When he gets to the door, he ends up seeing the latch. The latch has been bent and twisted, almost mangled. He's reminded of the first time he came here. And then he ended up calling Lacey and had one of his episodes. He still doesn't even know how the hell he ended up doing that. I mean, Jesus Christ. Still. Hasn't ended up having any security come by that he needed to worry about. He ends up opening the door. He just walks amongst the racks, this emptiness, save for a few scraps of cardboard and old plastic wrap that's just left to sides. Walks towards the freezer door. Slit right in the middle of it. It's made of tarp, rolled down on automatic rollers, but turned off for quite some time. Still smells cigarette. Probably a good time, light one. And stuff can speak inside the freezer. Muffles sound better. Doesn't carry as much. Don't have to worry about somebody accidentally stepping in. Lights a cigarette. Just inhales. Needs to work on his patience.
About this time, you can go ahead and make a perception alertness if you wish. Oh yeah. Um, you actually hear um, some traffic close by. You can't be sure actually how close, uh, but it's been a bit since you entered the warehouse that you've actually heard traffic. So you hear a few cars. Stefan gets out of the cab at this point, kind of seeing the large complex here. Quite a few warehouses. Pays the cab driver, thanks him, and heads toward the particular warehouse that Axel had suggested for this meeting, and begins heading toward it. Um, Not too long. It's a pretty big place, but I mean, he takes a most efficient route. Yeah, he comes across the warehouse, kind of seeing some odd, odd rough shape that the front door to the warehouse is kind of in. Walks inside anyway. Closes it behind him. It's at this point you would begin to hear faint footsteps entering the warehouse.
Axel, at this point, has probably gone through at least 2 cigarettes, leaving the butts just on the ground. As actually a fresh one lit, and hears footsteps. He checks around the corner, trying to be a little bit sly, but not really putting his full attention into it, just peeking around the corner. When he sees Stefan, it's all smiles at that point. He steps around the corner so Stefan can see him in plain view. He gestures for him to come, but doesn't say anything.
Oh, I do actually notice you before you step around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Axel? Stefan continues walking toward him at this point.
Stefan, would you care to join me in my office?
Yeah. Seen at
You,
this point, the twisted door damn near like pretty much pulled off its hinges, completely busted. Leaves Stefan a little. He hasn't. It's not like he hasn't seen something like that before.
okay. You, do you follow Axel?
Yeah.
Okay, Axel ends up leading you through the freezer door, peels the tarp aside, slips in, and starts walking down one of the nearby corridors, just the aisles of empty racks, save for a few that have placed pallets on the lower racks, almost like makeshift chairs. Doesn't take long for you to really notice that the smell of cigarettes lingers in here. It's a fairly large space, though. We're talking probably the size of a football field, roughly. He sits himself down in one of the pallets, probably about 20 cigarette butts, just right at his feet. Would you be able to roll perception, please?
Uh. Yeah.
I'll give it to you on 2 successes.
Oh yeah. Good old 4.
You're also noticing that when he takes his coat off for comfort, that the side of his shirt, right along the ribs, has several small, narrow slashes, and you also notice along the floor and on some of the racks just tiny, tiny bits of blood droplets, dried.
Hmm.
Probably not more than a day or two. He offers you a seat on the opposing pallet so you can speak face to face,
He
smiling at you the whole time.
walks on over, kind of brushes some of the obvious debris off, and takes a seat. I see you have been especially busy. Eyes going to the anomalies in your shirt and the spots on the floor. What happened here?
Practice. Long story short, well, this started with a phone call from Styx. You know him?
I, I do not know anybody who would use a nickname that is synonymous with a bundle of wood.
Well, I think it was actually a nickname that was derived from the river, but that being said, I think he also introduced himself as Cameron.
Ah, the ferryman on the river.
Hmm. On the river Styx, yes. But that beside the point, just to keep you completely filled in, he's taken a very proactive role in trying to end up figuring out these things. You've seen them at the church. Maybe
You
not
mean
what, but
these individuals at the church?
I don't treat a. From what I've heard, I would like not to be thinking of them as individuals, not if this goes extremely south. I can't afford to start thinking of them like that. I Anyway, so I wanted to know if Styx was ready to handle himself. And
Hmm.
I know that's not, well, that's not easy, but I also needed to prepare myself. Something I didn't tell him, but I've, I don't know how long you've been around, but I'm still getting used to the fact that it takes a lot more to hurt me now. I need to stop thinking that a small knife can really do anything, because my first response is oh shit, he has a knife. And
A
in
knife, no matter how small, in the right hands can be quite dangerous, even to us.
You're probably right. I don't know that. I just needed to know, could he use it? It's like handing someone a gun. You know, if they don't know how to use it, they're more likely to hurt themselves than not. So me and him got a little rough for, I'd say, probably 4 hours, and just, well, I got in a little too close, and I couldn't keep control of his arm, and he started taking advantage of it, as he should have. Wrecked a good shirt too. Fuck. But at least I know what he's capable of now. At least got a better handle of it. I don't want somebody coming in saying they're going to step up and do something when they are clearly unable to do so. You understand?
This, it is curious that you are the second person, Gideon being the first, who refer to these men as creatures, as things.
Yeah, well, after what I heard, it's accurate.
It is
So,
curious. Gideon tried to convince me that some rumors I heard of a dangerous group were not quite as true as I had heard. But what exactly? And I need you to be extremely candid. Have you heard of these creatures, these individuals' capabilities, other than what I was told?
well, I don't know what you were told.
I
So,
was told by a contact of mine, who I need to inevitably pay back this favor. There are five in the city.
that sounds about right.
They are unusually fast and, well, unusually strong as, say, Gideon is.
I really didn't want to believe that. I really didn't want to believe that. Fuck. This is
Ah,
the kind of shit that makes me nervous, Stefan.
then you saw what I saw only from the shadows in the courtyard that night at the church. How Gideon easily bent those bars as though they were nothing.
It makes sense. I mean, I've seen that strength firsthand, but you make excuses for it. When you're dealing with people, maybe it was just leverage, maybe it was technique, maybe it was he's had a lot of experience in this kind of thing, right? But as soon as you end up seeing rebar being twisted like a fucking pretzel. It
Except that those bars at the church courtyard were well worked wrought iron
yeah,
and quite a bit thicker than the rebar.
yeah. He tosses the smoke aside and he reaches for another in the pack. As soon as he pulls one out, he looks to you and extends the package.
At this moment, it can't kill.
Stefan's gonna, yeah,
Pulls
trust
one.
me, trust me. It's more for my sake than yours.
Would you allow me?
Yeah, he hands you the cigarette that he has and
And
pulls out a lighter.
it takes him a little bit, like he's not used to using it, but once he sparks it, he finds himself kind of looking at the flame a little bit, holding it just like a mortal would, and then hands the lighter back to Axel.
It's interesting. You don't need to breathe, but the cough reflex stays, huh?
I've never taken this up in my life.
Well, thankfully, you can say you've gone an entire lifetime and never had a cigarette. He extends his hand, waiting for the other cigarette to come back to him.
Oh. Without using the lighter, just kind of...
Yeah.
And then hands the relatively fresh one to you.
Thank you.
So, not a problem. So, with what I have been told, now, what have you been told? Apparently, these things are creatures.
Well, last time I checked, a human being can split its head open in several different ways and use the skin to be, not even just the skin, I'm getting the impression that it's bone and everything else to build almost like snakes with blades on the end. I don't know if the blades are bone or if they're actually metal or just kind of something
Gets
weird.
it's a mix. It's kind of confusing. The look on his face he gets when you look up while you're describing like this, when you get to like describing the blades, it's like a mix of curiosity and like surprise, maybe a little bit of fear.
Now you understand why me and Sticks ended up going at it. What happens if the kid doesn't know how to use a knife? That's a death sentence. You know, even a 2% chance is a fighting chance, but none. I couldn't let him do it even if he had an army behind him.
Now, this man that you know, he has seen these creatures do this. Their heads splitting open, these tentacles ending in sharp blade-like bones.
One cut sticks pretty bad. I mean, right down to bone along the shoulder.
Oh, and he says something in German. Like, it's definitely out of exasperation.
What does that mean?
It, clearly it means that Gideon was trying to protect me from my overwhelming curiosity.
Well, I think I'm trying to be candid with you. It deserves a two-way street, at least amongst family, right?
Means he very, very aptly pulls the wool over my eyes.
Don't take it personal, Stefan. I've been. He shuts up right there, almost letting that bit slip. Clearly hiding something. Look,
Hmm.
if anything about Gideon strikes true, is he doesn't tell you what you need to know. He tells you what you need to hear. At the end of the day, never doubt he's looking out for family.
Except that at this point, this being true, witnessed by more than just your contacts, Cameron.
Yeah, yeah. Supposedly, Damien Black also ended up seeing these things.
Damien Black.
Yeah. Then again,
It does not surprise me to hear that a Bruja putting themselves in the most dangerous situations.
really? Why?
Because the Bruja are known to do this.
It,
Have you heard me refer to them as hot-blooded?
not off the top of my head. I, I mean, the one I've met, and I know probably more than anyone outside of, the brothers, is Axel catches himself again.
Lacey, you said she. I'm going out on a limb.
He's going to just continue talking, but I'm going to roll what is it? Wits plus subterfuge?
Manipulation. I will
Manipulation.
actually make a perception empathy for
Okay.
this. He's in a discerning state of mind. Uh, two successes.
No successes.
No successes. Oh,
No,
holy crap! That is just a fail. Just a fail. Don't worry. Um,
I'm not worried about it.
yeah,
But
yeah, it's definitely lying through your teeth there.
she is probably one of the oldest people I've run into. Think she'd put herself into trouble headlong without a second thought. Kind of doesn't seem to ring true for Bruja.
You have given me information, Axel. Very good information. I am hoping that despite your attempt at subterfuge, at lying, that you have been forward with me. So I will take this on good faith and forward with you. Do not let the Bruja ever fool you with the veneer on the outside. Even though they seem calm and collected, they have a temper that would put yours to shame.
I you can see the cigarette heavily shaking in his hand. There's this look of shame on his face.
Hmm. Don't worry. We all have had embarrassments, things that we are not proud of.
Stefan, I don't.
Continue.
I'm ashamed that I've lied to family. I'm not even lying, just not telling the full bit. And,
Lying. Be honest.
well, okay. I have never told you who my sire is, have I?
No.
There's a reason for that. My sire is Gideon.
Ah. Now it all makes sense.
What part?
In all matters, I don't know if he has told you, but he has informed me that should the moment arise, and both him and Celine, dear Celine, are in the room, Gideon is to be referred to as the leader, in charge over Celine, as a matter of security.
Yeah. And do you know what the first thing I was taught when I was of mind to understand, even in the slightest? It was family first. You uphold the masquerade. You look after family, no matter what it takes.
And
And
in this case, these creatures who drink blood and apparently eat flesh like cannibals and
they
make
what?
themselves monstrous in appearance do not respect the masquerade.
Yeah, yeah.
They
That's
are cannibals. I have
Jesus
that
Christ.
on good authority.
Jesus fucking Christ. No, forgive the. I didn't know. I didn't know that. And I'm sure, given time, I'll probably end up coming up with some way to use that. But right now, Stefan, if we're going to be completely honest with each other, I've been around for 3 weeks, a little older than that, but for all intents and purposes, a person who's been sired a year knows more than I do. And I have to figure out how the hell to get it together enough that I can do what's being asked of me, and I will do it without a second's thought.
Hmm.
I've but I have to end up knowing like what the hell to do. I'm too reliant on other people. They're supposed to lean on me, not the other way around. I don't like it.
Well, when I was told about these things, and now being told that they can malleably change their form, split their heads open in a controlled fashion, use prehensile tentacles that scares the hell out of me. I'm not much of a fighter. In fact, I don't know how to fight. I
Yeah.
could probably figure out how to use something like a bat or a crowbar or one of my sculpting tools, but that is not knowing how to fight.
No, it ain't. And I got a very fucking harsh lesson about my place in the pecking order. I I have to live up to expectations not because of who my sire is, but because of the necessity of those expectations. I have no want or cares to lord over people, as I've seen several kindred do. I would rather just end up getting to know the family and just do what needs to be done. It's probably the only thing I like about this, is that, while complicated, it at least tells me what the hell I need to do. And at this point, I need to talk to people, and I need to get them informed. Now, I got a couple of people I need to end up getting in. I need a few people I need to end up calling. I need to end up bringing people in. But as far as I know, I'm the closest thing to a person who's supposed to handle this. And what the hell am I going to do when I'm supposed to be going up against something as strong as Gideon, who can bend steel with his bare fucking hands, and I'm not any stronger than I was. I don't know how the fuck he does that. I don't know how he does anything. I don't know, at one point he gave me a demonstration of he he looked in my eyes and suggested I pray.
And what happened then? As Stefan kind of sits upright, kind of leaning in a bit.
I did. I walked right past thing standing at the door, and I sat down and I began to recite the Lord's Prayer with kind of depth that I never knew in my own lifetime,
You
short as
felt
it was.
yourself be compelled to follow the suggestion.
Yeah, says I can do it too. I don't know. I think I may have done it once. Told somebody I was going for a cigarette. Then I've been using that trick, but it works some of the times, not often. Just
It it is a concentrated effort.
well, yeah, to have a smoke, I need to end up concentrating. I need to focus on the lighter. I need to remind myself when to inhale You know, all these things I took for granted. It takes a concentration. I have to look at the cigarette and say, I am going for a smoke.
9. 9. Not that act. How to put it? My sire put it a little bit differently. And have you met a man by the name of Tristan Pendragon?
No, I can't say that name's familiar.
A Tremere. Whatever that is.
No,
Um,
I've met two, but they get the nickname Wizards, as I understand it, and it's not exactly. That's not exactly. Uh, I don't expect them to be waving magic wands around. I haven't seen one do that, but
nor
supposedly
would I.
they
But
supposedly can do something with the blood. That's all I know about it.
after I saw personally witnessed at Elysium Tristan rub a droplet of my own blood between his fingers and see glow from his eyes around him, the swirl of VTMYTE rising up, the vapors coming off of it. I asked if he knew anyone who could realistically and convincingly pull a rabbit from a hat from thin air. And he was curious as to why I was asking about magic.
You think it's real?
Well, he suggested something that made a lot of sense. That we, our particularly afflicted group, is low on the totem pole as we are. Make no mistake, it is true.
Yeah, I get that.
Similarly pull off feats that are or can be quite magical.
Yeah, well, Gideon's still trying to. Well, Gideon tried to teach me a few things, and some things apparently I have a knack for. I just haven't figured out how to use it by just looking at somebody. And I haven't figured out how to stop seeing details I really don't want to see.
It's not just looking at somebody, it's looking into their eyes. It's peering into their soul, their mind, their psyche, and how to put it? You. This is going to sound a bit invasive, but it is true. Kind of forcing your will on another, like a master to his or her dog. But not exactly in that way.
Yeah. You make it sound like I could just tell him sit, roll over, beg. Fuck.
Then that is what I will tell you. however you believe that you can bend people's minds, make no mistakes, this is not a child's toy of an ability. You can seriously do damage to a person.
Yeah, well, I don't want to end up making them. I don't want to end up making somebody loopy by scrambling their brains, you know? Don't get me wrong, some people would have it come, but
I am quite adept at this. As adept at this as I am, it's the social game. But our other abilities. So, if I told you that I could extend my senses, my sight, my hearing, my touch, my taste, to extremely sensitive proportions, would you be able to explain that through anything else other than magical awe and surprise?
if I didn't do it myself on occasion, I would doubt it, but it's not like I end up having a choice in the matter. I just look at something and I start looking at it, and I swear it's like fighting my vision to not start seeing the atoms someone is built out of. It just seems to go on and on and on, and sometimes I hear pin drops that turns out to be a quarter from across the street during high traffic. And I'm not sure if I'm hearing things or not. And sometimes, much to my own shock, it's not me hearing things. Um, well,
I have been told that is just where that capability starts. It leads into a more, this will sound ridiculous, but I believe it is true. It can lead into a form of psychic awareness and perceptions.
hardest thing I ended up having to learn here is don't dismiss everything out of hand. I mean, fuck, we're talking about guys who sprout tentacles with knives at the end out of their fucking skulls. So it makes it a little difficult to dismiss what you're saying out of hand. But, well, let me, alright. I'm sorry, we got way off track. I appreciate it. Tell you what,
The
let
last
me,
of our capabilities is to be able to meld into shadow, but more than just mundanely. To actually be able to use it like a physical curtain.
great, so you're telling me we can become the Invisible Man?
Hmm, I'm not sure if it goes that far, but it is a possibility.
Well, let me, I want to continue I want to learn. Look, Stefan, I'm still coming to grips with the fact that when I was kind, some guy got rowdy in a bar, maybe threatened to hit his girl or some shit like that. Grab him by the wrist, grab him by the back of the collar, and huck him out. Hell, usually I can talk him down before then, but at the very least, if he ended up doing something like try and grab for a bottle, I knew what to do, and I'd do it. And it wouldn't be much of an issue. I'm always a big guy. Now, Lacey put my fucking head through a car door with a joking push. I mean, she's a fucking neonate. And she's got better handle on this than I do.
And
watching Gideon at work, it was like, holy shit.
now,
What?
would you like to understand why I found it so interesting that Gideon bent those wrought iron bars?
Axel thinks about it for a minute. That's not something we do. Not our kind.
They, as kindred, the vampires, are capable of learning physical feats like that. But you are correct. It is not something that we typically do. But the Bruja, on top of their temper, can also move incredibly fast, I have been told. Perform some incredible feats of strength. And it has been said, I've never seen it for myself, but it has been said that they can command crowds of people or individuals with their presence just by looking at somebody. Just by walking in a room, heads will turn. I have never witnessed this, but it has been told to me. My sire told me about this. Now, tell me now, Axel, what is Damien Black's role in this?
As I understand it, Damien Black was one of the crew that took one of these things out. If I recall correctly, it was a group of 5.
Was he injured?
He didn't make mention of it.
Hmm.
He was, trying to end up keeping us. He looks to his side with all the stab wounds in his shirt. Trying to keep one of us down is a little tougher, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was injured that he'd heal up. I mean, I wouldn't believe Styx if he didn't tell me with a certain degree of, for lack of a better term, aggression.
This is something that I have never been good with. I was always more of an academic. Not even in my mortal life, helping out my friend, my my sire, no, my friend. Um, Escape anti-Semitic persecution, negative comments, physical hazing. Not even then did I do anything physical. I preferred avoiding unpleasantries. But
Well, the thing is so do I. That's just it, Usually I can talk sense to a person. Usually I can talk at their level. Bring them down.
To me, that talking and hiding, sensing, seeing, even dominating someone's mind, someone's will or psyche, is not going to be a replacement for being able to fight. This is what really scares the hell out of me, because I do not know.
I'll be perfectly frank with you, Stefan. What the reason you ended up initially asking what set Gideon off? The desecration of a church, the disrespect to Celine, the questions that you would find somebody who is trying to break another person out of their faith, almost in the way you would taunt somebody.
He told me as much.
And then it wasn't when they wouldn't leave, he left. He left outside,
Well,
twisted.
I could. Always eager I am. Too eager sometimes.
For what?
I could definitely stand to learn how to fight, or defend myself anyway.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much good I can do. It's not like I can. It's not like I can end up picking up a car engine or anything like that. I don't have any of those supernatural abilities. I just know basic biomechanics.
You
How far
know
an arm can bend.
the
How.
basics of fighting, defending oneself. I could tell you, even in your undead state, I could I could do things that would render your body incapable of certain movements for at least a good week. But I do not
All
know
of
how.
a sudden, I really do feel like the smallest fish in a fishbowl. I'm supposed to be the child of one of the biggest, baddest sharks in the tank, and I'm a fucking guppy. That scares the hell out of me, Stefan. That
That is
scares me.
just knowledge, not knowing how to fight or defend myself. That was part of what I studied uh, to earn my master's degree. Why do you think I? How do you think I can try to bring life to stone? I know anatomy. I know biology. I've even studied chemistry in my time.
Yeah, I wish I didn't exactly have the opportunity to further my education at the time. I kind of took your advice, though. Started doing a bit more reading, but right now it's kind of looking into my part of the condition, trying to get a hold of it. If I'm going to be stuck with eternity with this, I better at least learn how to manage it, right? So,
Though eternity is a pleasant thought. Those pleasant thoughts can keep you going. But just because you may be immortal, don't ever forget that you are still just as frail. Even the toughest of us are just as frail as mortals in some respects.
Yeah, I got that when Styx was putting that shiv into my rib cage. Vicious little
So
cunt, I'll say that.
I will make you
Uh,
a bargain, a long-term bargain, not a favor for a favor, not boons for boons, just trading. I can teach you some interesting concepts in exchange for some tips on my own self-defense. Not really teaching, but just things maybe like heads up. Maybe um, I don't know. Maybe there is particular books. Maybe there is particular avenues that I could take in better educating myself.
oh,
And in exchange, this is going to be very interesting, I could actually teach you one of a few things that I am quite well versed in.
seems fair. You get to learn a little bit. I get to learn a little bit. We both know where each other stands in capability.
Um, Stefan kind of looks at his watch a little bit. Um, I should, we should probably wrap this up fairly soon, but the contact of mine, a Nosferatu, not as not as malformed as most of their kin, that I met at on my way to the Aphrodite. Was a helpful sort, a good pool player. Um, by the name of Thomas,
Thomas.
was the one who told me about these things. And with what he told me, which I have passed on, what you have told me that I can put together, and what Gideon has told me, I have a more complete picture. Gideon has asked Thomas, not me, not any other Malkavian, Thomas, to he has tasked him with um, making it known that the Vale Community Center is for us to meet at. It is a kind establishment at all times, so we must be on our guard. But you know that. Gideon has taught you well, I can see.
Just do me a favor and don't let that little tidbit spread too much.
No.
I don't need people looking at me like.
Well, if I am going to let you and Thomas sort out the organizing details, even though I am better socially, I will let you handle this. Make Gideon proud. Show him your value. But if you would like my suggestion,
What's family for?
I do not know what the suits, these Ventru, the Toreador.
Upon mention of Ventro, you see a little bit of a twinge suddenly come across Axel. It subsides almost rapidly, but just upon mention of it, it's just kind of.
But uh, you do not like the mention of the. Don't be upset with me. You do not like the
No,
mention of the Ventru.
no, not particularly.
Hmm.
I got a particular bone to pick with them, but that's for another time when the families don't have something else to worry about. Right now,
Then, for now, my suggestion is let's keep this, at least for our own knowledge, as far as we both know. Let us keep this between us of the low clans,
low clans.
Malkavians and Nosferatu. That is what some of our elders call our families. It's low clans. As though we were dogs or not worthy of sitting at the table.
Yeah,
So let these kings and artisans and others of the like, let most of even the Bruja think that we are not up to anything but our own insane rambles, if you follow my drift.
yeah, I think so.
Make no mistake.
Those
Do not
kind
bring
of
more Bruja into this beyond Damien Black.
not
They
even
are not
Lacey.
low clans, not even Lacey.
I don't want to get in harm's way. I don't want to see her hurt, but fuck her arm. I swear to God, man, it's.
I'm sure she could handle herself, but getting too many of the rabble involved in anything is it can be at times bad for PR. And the Bruja considers themselves higher than the two aforementioned.
It's a lot to take in, Stefan.
So let us use our volunteer as well for whatever task they have for him as we wish.
You notice that there's this. It doesn't quite sit right in his mouth when he's hearing this. Just this look like he needs to spit.
I'm actually going to make a perception empathy to see if I pick up on that. I'm assuming you're trying to do it subtly, right?
No, this is fairly blatant.
Oh, it's like
The reason for it might be a little bit more subtle to pick up on me, but
yeah. Let's let's see. That's what perception empathy's for, right? Ooh.
Yeah.
Um. Wow. Yeah.
As far as you know, he just got a sudden bad taste in his mouth for whatever
Yeah.
reason. Maybe the dust in the air or something. Maybe it's something at the end of the cigarette he's puffing on.
Yo. Oh. Now, this Thomas, he is tasked to you know, gather only people who know about this together at Seville Community Center. He pulls out a pen and paper from his breast pocket, inside breast pocket, and writes down an address, a name. Tears off the paper and hands it to you. That is where you can find it.
Well,
You and him can
appreciate it.
work out the organizing details. Um, and we will go from there. Then both of you wish to call a larger meeting, or if Gideon wishes to call a larger meeting, don't hesitate to give me a call.
Of course. He gets up and he tosses the cigarette butt with the others on the ground. Doesn't even bother to stomp it out. Starts to walk for a minute.
Stefan
Stops.
follows aside, or follows alongside.
When he stops, he kind of looks. Thank you, Stefan.
There's one last question.
Same, actually.
How are you thirsty this evening? Hungry?
Not gonna lie, I can use a drink right about now. So I was gonna end up asking you one question, so we'll call it even.
Hmm.
How long have you been at this? The game as this existence. You speak with a lot more experience than I do, so I gotta assume that, you know, my
10
guess,
years.
10 years.
10
Jesus.
years.
I feel like a toddler like that, but then I end up thinking on how long everybody else has been around.
Not and not a necessarily easy 10 years either.
Oh, my first two weren't exactly cakewalk. And that
Usually,
was devoid of complications more than I already had. But
they usually are not easy. I I woke up after some time in a dark room in New York. I come to find out. I was told that I was only turned an hour or two prior to waking up before I saw my friend above me handing me a container of red liquid. I was out of it. Thought it was cranberry juice. Imagine my surprise. The room was dark. There was only one light. Could not make out anything else. I still recall those initial voices and sounds.
well, well,
But, I think at this point, let us go go have ourselves a little safe sport, shall we? And a drink.
Axel nods. He noticed that his shoulders just slumped down. He's thinking. Green, walking with Stefan out of the warehouse. A lot to think about on the mind of Axel Linwood. In the scene there.
Yep. As Stefan and Axel both make their way through the docks area, um, they end up catching a cab, um, but not before looking around a bit away from the docks, trying to spy somebody more of a homeless perspective. And through careful maneuvering, Stefan doing the talking, they end up procuring a bit of a drink. The man went along his way just as smoothly as he was met, without any second thought as to what had happened. The out of game on this is slow, deliberate social movements and a clever use of Dominate 1, actually Dominate 2, to suggest that, no, Dominate 1, to make the man suggest nothing unusual has happened. Kind of invoke a little bit of forgetfulness, which Axel was present for, and each take mechanically 1 point of life. Each. And after that little bit of feeding, that little bit of sustenance and nourishment, Axel Axel and Stefan get out of the cab somewhere in the downtown area, where Stefan and part ways, and they make themselves to their own respective havens.